Hello everybody, welcome to a brand new year of It Was Tuesday. It is 2024, and of course we kick off the year as with tradition with the Chen TV Awards. And so we're doing this for the past year of 2023. If you've missed the first episode, I've already gone through Story of the Year, Newcomer of the Year, and Event of the Year. And so we're going to be moving on right away here with Commentator of the Year. And so this is the people that I believe have done just amazing jobs with their commentary this past year. Now, obviously, as the FGC goes, we are family, and while we celebrate the successes and the amazing accomplishments of many people, unfortunately, this episode does have to start off on a little bit of a sad note here. And this one here, I really just wanted to put out there because, as a commentator, maybe lesser people know. But again, I wanted to give this number 3 to Nanai from Japan. For those of you who don't know, Ryoma Nanai Ono went to EVO this year. He had been commentating Street Fighter League for a very, very long time. And after returning home from EVO, he suffered a heart problem. And unfortunately, Nanai passed away in the summer immediately after EVO. And he had been doing great work for Street Fighter League Japan. And so, I know that this is posthumous, and it always sucks to award someone posthumously because, we need to give each other more love, actually in person and such. But, he was young, man. None of us really had any idea. I mean, he was young. Like, there was just no way that any of us could have thought that this would happen. But just as a reminder to everybody, make sure that you give your fellow commentators and your fellow players and TOs and content creators and everybody, love whenever you can, because time is short, man. Time is short. And so we want to make sure that we appreciate each other while we are still here. This is Ryoma Ono, aka Nanai, who was a Street Fighter commentator for Japan for Street Fighter League. So yeah, it's posthumously. Shout outs to Nanai, and hope you continue to commentate matches for everybody, up above for everybody's enjoyment. So. All right, so number 2, Commentator of the Year. This is a commentator I have given the award. He's been on my top 3 list before, but I really feel like this year he's been stepping it up, doing a lot of extra stuff, doing a lot more analysis, great content, and one of my personal friends and one of my favorite people to commentate with, honestly, and that is Ringe. Ringe has just been a fantastic commentator for so long, and he has just been doing some amazing work. And now the reason why I've put him back on this list, I've had him on the list before, but the reason why I put him back on this list is that he is doing some crazy analysis work, and he is creating some wonderful content, analyzing things and showing exactly, why people are making decisions, or how, shocking things were, or why this is a great strategy. He's really, really been putting out some wonderful, wonderful content for everybody. And like I said, he is absolutely one of my favorite people to commentate with. He is such a joy. He is always so full of energy. He is always full of positivity. And I mean, I'll tell you right now, if you, for those commentators out there, if you haven't commentated with him, it's like silky smooth, man. Like you commentate with him, and it's just everything flows so well, and his hair is so beautiful. Let's face it. And Ringe is such a wonderful person to add to this list, that the Sky Chopper is flying overhead right now and trying to check out to see, me giving this award to Ringe right now. But yeah, no, Ringe is honestly one of the greatest. And I still remember when I was at Evo, we didn't know who our commentary partners were for a lot of blocks. And I walked up to the table, to the Guilty Gear table to do commentary, and Ringe was already sitting there. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. I was so happy. I was so happy to do commentary with Ringe at Evo, dude. Like, because he is seriously one of the best. So shout outs to Ringe. And like I said, he's only up the game now with doing all the research that he's doing and all the analysis. He's been analyzing all of the Street Fighter League episodes. And again, you know, that kind of stuff is only going to make him stronger as it keeps going. So shout outs to Ringe. Absolutely. He's my number 2. So, you know, the question is, wow, then who do I put as number 1? Me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. No, honestly, the crazy thing is this number 1 person has never been on any of my lists before. And he's been commentating for a very, very, very long time. And I don't know how I've never put him on this list, but I have managed to commentate with him a lot online and now offline. And honestly, I think he is probably my favorite Street Fighter 6 commentator right now at this very moment. I love listening to him. I think his analysis is so spot on. His humor is great. He works with everybody. I feel like he does it all. And that is, of course, Jammers from the UK. And honestly, like, I think he is the best Street Fighter 6 commentator right now. I love the way he speaks. He's inspired me even to try to be better about learning move names, etc. When I work with him, it's just an absolute joy. Him and F-Word on Street Fighter League EU have been absolutely hilarious. It's been so much fun listening to him. If you guys are not as familiar with Jammers, you should be. This guy is so talented. He's so knowledgeable. I mean, and it helps that, you know, in Street Fighter V, he was a master poison player. He knows all of the little subtleties here. He has such an advantage over a lot of other commentators in the fact that he is so strong at the game. Now, in Street Fighter 6, he's been having a little difficulty finding the right character. He started with Manon. Everybody who started with Manon is struggling. But, that Gandhi clip was not Jammers. That Gandhi clip was Logan and F-Word. Jammers is not on that clip. So again, Jammers has just been absolutely on fire recently. And I even told him that when we did the UK CPT recently. I literally told him, I was like, I think you are my favorite Street Fighter 6 commentator right now. Because honestly, the talent is immense. And his explanations and how quick he is and how you know, the way that he states things, the way that he even pronounces things, it's very easy to understand. It's very easy to grasp what it is that he's trying to explain. And he's also just so good at really selling the moment, honestly. So I think Jammers is absolutely amazing. And so I am absolutely honored to give him this number 1 spot for Commentator of the Year, as well as completely blown away by the fact that it's taken me this long to even have him on the list. I'm almost mad at myself that it's taken this long to get him onto this list. So shout outs to Jammers. Dude, like I said, Chad says in the chat, Jammers is the only commentator that knows every move name in the game. He's upped my game. I don't know if you noticed, but this last weekend I was calling things more by their names and more by what their names mean. So, for example, for JP, instead of calling things ghosts, I kept calling things the boogeyman. And then Jeremy started doing it too because I told him the reason. The reason I kept calling it the boogeyman instead of that is because the actual name of the move is Tourbillon. And what Tourbillon is actually a mythical boogeyman in Russian culture. Like Baba Yaga, basically. You know, he's basically a thing that you use to scare children. He literally kidnaps bad children and takes them away. And so he's literally like Russia's boogeyman. And so I've been calling things boogeyman. You know, I've been trying to pay more attention. I can tell you that, you know, JP's level 2 is called Lavushka now. And it's all because of Jammers. He's really inspired me to be better about that. And, you know, he's really, you know, getting me to up my own game, which is really important. I mean, as a commentator, you could never stop improving. You could never stop improving. And you want to take what you can from everybody. You don't want to imitate anybody, but you can take the things that work with you that you can apply to yourself. And that's one of the things that I think Jammers does. So honestly, Ringe, really inspiring on the research. Jammers, really inspiring on the knowledge, the matchup knowledge, as well as, you know, just the actual in-game knowledge. So really shout outs to Jammers. Really, really, really happy for his success. And I hope to see him more often and see him do even bigger events. If I'm not mistaken, it was him and Ultra David for the final block of Capcom Cup this last year. And I think that's great. I think that's great. I would love to see Jammers do more big events, because honestly, I think he's the best Street Fighter 6 commentator at this point. And so we're continuing trying to give the awards to individuals this year. If you haven't caught the theme of this category, we're going from Commentator of the Year to Content Creator of the Year. Now, I'm going to say this really quick. I am a horrible person, a horrible, horrible human being, because as a content creator, I don't consume other people's content enough. I really don't. It's probably one of the reasons why my content is not so strong, is that I should be watching other contents and getting ideas, etc., etc. So this is Content Creator of the Year. So it's harder for me to be, you know, subjective. It's harder for me to be subjective like I am with a lot of the other categories. Because I don't watch enough, right? And we'll get to that when I talk about this a little bit. But number three, and this one is a little subjective because I'm so happy. And yeah, actually, Machinex Soul, that's another problem. There's a lot of content creators out there. It's so hard to pick one out right now. But I actually have in number 3 right now, because I will never get enough of one fellow by the name of Mike Ross. I'm going to give it to Versus Vortex, because I love seeing some Mike Ross back in action, and him and Chen together, I think, are a match made in heaven. Honestly, Chen and Mike, the content they've been creating, the clips that they've been putting out on YouTube, and the way that the way that Chen and Mike are actually gelling with each other, like the way Mike is just laughing like every episode, like it just warms my heart to see he's genuinely having fun on there, and it's so great. Yeah, exactly. Like the Mike feeling himself, Chen shooting him down, etc., etc. Like there's just the dynamic between those two is so good. And Chen, he's always been that kind of really sharp, clever, sarcastic guy that will catch you, even though he doesn't look like he has that kind of streak in him. But the way that him and Mike are playing off of each other, honestly, one of my absolute favorite pairings. Their what is that word? What is the word? Chemistry. Their chemistry is flawless. Honestly, I love it to death. I love it to death. Every time I see their clips on Twitter, I always have to reply to it and make a comment, just because it's just like, it's so fun. It's so fun to see. And again, for me in particular, I just love seeing that joy back on Mike Ross's face, because that, you know, nobody deserves to have that joy more than Mike Ross, honestly. So I'm ecstatic to see that. So good job to the Versus Vortex crew. And number 2, there are a lot of wonderful content creators out there, doing stuff like, the Brian F's and the Sajams and such. And obviously Brian F was my content creator last year at #1. Sajam, I've given it to him in the past as well. There's a lot of people who have been kind of joining in the mix and really kind of stepping up. And for #2, I think everybody kind of agrees that, there it is name. Everybody agrees that Diaphone has been one of the most important content creators we have, who has stepped up recently and really introducing a lot of people to the community. I mean, I was looking through his content recently, and like his latest content has almost 100,000 views on there. He has 56K views, 72K views, and all 66K views, and all these are like the lowest views that he has on one of his videos here is like 20K. Dude, just absolutely insane. And while obviously the views aren't everything, but there's a reason why it's going so well, because he's making great content and it's appealing to people, and it's been actually working for a lot of people. So again, as I said, I'm a terrible person because I don't consume a lot of content. I haven't had a chance to watch a lot of Diaphone's content myself outside of his Kimberly guides, which I definitely watched. But he has been killing it. I've seen Brian F. talk about him. I've seen everybody talk about Diaphone and just how wonderful that he has been contributing to the fighting game community. Yeah, it's Street Fighter, it's Guilty Gear, it's Grand Blue. He has he's even put out Pocket Bravery content. That's awesome. See, so again, wonderful job to Diaphone, and I wish I could say more personally. So if Diaphone sees this, I'm sorry. I haven't watched enough of your content here, but just honestly, the fact that everybody keeps mentioning you and me, just looking at your channel and seeing the stuff that you've been doing, looking at your Twitch and seeing the stuff that you're doing is really important. So shout outs to Diaphone. Yeah, look at all the testimonials in the chat here. He's got variety. He's touched every game, puts out really straightforward, easy to understand things for newer players. He's really done a great job, so shout outs to him. And #1 on the content creator of the year list, this is an interesting one. This is a tricky one, because this has never really been something that I considered content before. I would always give awards, and in fact, I have given awards to FGC Member of the Year, for this kind of work. But this is content, because let's face it, after Spooky stopped doing NLBC, there was a huge hole in the competitive fighting game online matches scene. And who would step up to the task? And it was Tong Never Sleeps. Tampa Never Sleeps. The whole crew over here I'm going to give. Because Tong was my #1 FGC member of the year. This year, it's the entire crew for Tampa Never Sleeps. Because every time I want to do research on any fighting game, they've got it covered. If I want to watch some DNF, they've got the DNF. If I want to watch Grand Blue, they've got the Grand Blue. If I want to watch Samurai Showdown, they got the Samurai Showdown. Of course, they're also doing the Street Fighter 6. They're always doing the Marvel 3. Like, you cannot miss. And they have filled the gap that has been that void that was left open by Spooky stopping with the NLBC stuff. And so Tong and his whole entire crew, Tampa Never Sleeps, because, Tong will be the first person to tell you, like, dude, like, give credit to everybody else who is doing all this work. But really, what Tong created and has led to Tampa Never Sleeps, you go to their YouTube channel and it's a cornucopia of fighting games. It is the absolute, just everything is there. You will not be missing anything. And so if you want to watch any fighting game in any sort of way, they're the ones to go to. They are the de facto go-to actual match content creators in the FGC right now. And I think that that's yeah, they're playing KOF over there right now. Dude, that's so cool. That's so cool. But yeah, so and now they're starting to try running offline events too. They actually did a Tampa Never Sleeps offline event. And I think they're going to do more. So shout outs to them for continuing to do this. They have really cemented themselves as the go-to place for fighting game events. If you want to play online events, they're the ones that you go and test yourself with. They are basically the new NLBC when it comes to online gaming. So shout outs to the Tampa Never Sleeps crew. You guys are awesome. And I hope to do more work with them in the future. In fact, I may be doing more work with them in the very near future. Maybe. But honestly, Tampa Never Sleeps is great crew, great stuff. They've been killing it. So shout outs to them. Let's see here. All right, so that's Content Creator of the Year. And so for FGC Member of the Year, this is like a weird one, but you know, there's obviously a lot of people out there who have all sorts of roles. This usually kind of goes to TOs, but it also goes to personalities, people who do a lot of very useful things out there, people who are just, you know, making names for themselves in the fighting game community and doing a lot of wonderful things. And so I like to try to do some weird stuff here, right? Like, and in Content Creator. Like, honestly, last year, Content Creator, I put Quasi-Modox in that list at number 3, which I'm kind of mad about because I should have saved him for this year. Because I feel like Quasi-Modox as an artist has just been killing it this last year. The fighting game characters doing mundane tasks and Lily dual wields everything have been like some of my favorite art content that I have seen from an artist in a long time. So honestly, honorable mention once again to Quasi-Modox, honestly. And Dropout says you could realistically give this a tongue as well. I did. Last year, he was my number 1 FGC Member of the Year. Okay, so I try to spread the love a little bit. I know I should just give the award to who I genuinely think is the best, but, you know, again, I want to spread the love a little bit here. But number 3 is an interesting one here because number 3, this type of person in the fighting game community, you would be surprised at how invaluable this type of person is. The role that they fill as a person who can get you the answers that you need. I'm giving this one, interestingly enough, to Hatson. Hatson FGC on Twitter. If you guys don't know who Hatson is, he works on, you know, he works on the Frame Data app, the FAT. So he works on FAT, but he also digs down into the game and finds out why things happen and such. And for those of us who are really interested in labbing and the science and stuff like this, to have someone like this that you can repeatedly turn to, like myself, Javits, all these people were always like, wait, why did this happen? Hey, Hatson. And tag Hatson to figure out what the heck is going on. Honestly, having somebody like that is so valuable. Yeah, Tool Assisted, she was one of them previously, continuing the inside joke that David and I would always refer to Tool Assisted as she. And at one point in time, honorable mention to Gelatin Lab. Gelatin Lab also showed up and started doing a lot of that same role that Hatson did. Unfortunately, Gelatin Lab took a break and has kind of disappeared a little bit. So, was it you who started that? Okay, fair. But Hatson, I think, is invaluable. Every community needs a Hatson, honestly, because he helps answer so many questions and gets us to understand why things happen internally in the game. Like a lot of times we'll see something happen in a match and we're like, why did this happen? And he'll go frame by frame, reproduce the situation, show you exactly why these two people passed through each other or how this move missed that hit. And people be like, my input was eaten, or why did this move lose? And he'd be like, oh, well, I just tested it. And you see here, there's only 3 active frames on the this jump attack. So even though his hand is still down, the hitbox went away. And so it looks like you should have hit him, but it's not actually there. It said, yes, really good at correcting misinfo. That is a great way and a succinct way to put it, Peter0611. Thank you very much. What a great way to... He's the one who he's like our Snopes. Hatson is the Snopes of the Street Fighter world. That is a great way to put it. He corrects everything and gives us the truth of why things happen. And having something like that is really, really invaluable. So there we go. Number 2. As a person that probably has deserved this long ago. I've never had him in my top 3 list. But that was also because I was always bizarrely cruel to him, and I would make fun of him all the time. And, you know, it was just one of those weird relationships that I had with him. And a few years back, I was just like, why am I like this? Why am I so mean to this guy? I mean, he does such wonderful things, and he does so much for the fighting game community and such. You know, I really wanted to be better about it, treat him with more respect because of what he has been doing really, really well. And that is Mr. Alex Jabali. Now, you know, nobody will tell you that he deserves an award more than Alex Jabali. He even got a Canon Award this last year at EVO. It's not why I put him on the list. In fact, I only just remembered he got the Canon Award right now. But honestly, what Jabali's been doing with all the different CEOs and what he does for DreamHack, continuing to not just give fighting games a presence at DreamHack, but fighting games a respectable presence at DreamHack. And he's been doing this for a long time, and he's doing a lot more stuff than, you know, even just the things that we see. And like I said, you know, look, everybody can tell you Jabali has an ego the size of, yeah, exactly. Dropout says nobody loves Jabali more than Jabali. And I've made fun of him my whole life for that. I definitely, personally, as a person with massive imposter syndrome and a person who is humble to a fault, you know, the people out there who are, you know, very proud of themselves, the people who are, you know, who do have an ego out there, are people that generally have always kind of triggered this thing in me that I really dislike. And I ended up treating people who do have egos not fairly. And this is one of the things that I have learned in the past couple of years. And Jabali is a large reason why that I've decided to mature myself on this. And, you know, honestly, there's nothing wrong with having, you know, a strong ego like this. You know, I've often said, like, cocky players should be cocky because that's what they need to win. But then I didn't see it in the same way for other roles and such. So, you know, I was always a little bit more... You know, I used to deride Jabali all the time. He even knows it. He's always like, one time he was like, this is the nicest thing James has ever said about me, like on stream and stuff like that. So I wanted to be a better person. I wanted to mature a little bit and not treat ego and confidence as this completely awful thing, because the things that Jabali has done for the fighting game community since stepping up for the Florida scene is ridiculous. And, you know, he's putting a lot of work out there, and you guys don't know how difficult it is being in the position that he is, you know, with the Daytona stuff. And a lot of people were going after him because CEO in Daytona. And trust me, he knows. He doesn't feel he's very sad about that, and he's trying everything he can to fix that. You guys don't realize how hard it is to fix something like that from behind the scenes, and how potentially expensive it is to fix something like that. So yeah, he's a very egotistical guy, but at the same time, you know he cares. You know he cares about the FGC. You know he still wants the scene to grow. You know that he's trying to put on good shows for everybody and do what makes sense. And so I really wanted to give this award to him this year. And again, you know, if he ever sees this and he thinks, oh, you're just copying EVO, you're following their coattails. Honestly, when I put him on the list, I forgot that he got a Canon Award until literally I was just talking about it right now. This was just all me. I really, really wanted to put him on that list. Yeah, and exactly. At least he can back up that ego. He is very good at fighting games, right? He's an amazing fighting game player. He's putting on wonderful events. He's doing great stuff. So, honestly, shout outs to Jabali. And like people in the chat have said, he owns that ego. He knows he has it. And, it's not, he doesn't use it to put other people down, right? That's the dangers of ego right there. He basically uses it to talk himself up. And so he's not being mean to other people. It is not a vindictive ego. It is not, a hateful ego. It is a playful and a deserved ego. So shout outs to Bailey. Shout outs to Jabali. Shout outs to him and all the things that he's done. Long overdue for him to get this award. So shout outs to Jabali for being such a valuable member for the fighting game community. And number one, I have this here just because I've also been able to see this. That's actually true. A lot of his bravado comes from the love of wrestling and the over-the-top personas in it. Makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, but yeah, you see like the Beyblade tournament and then like even just the artwork that he does, with the Final Fantasy VII parodies at CEO Otaku and stuff like that. He puts in a lot of work. He tries really hard. He's egotistical because he knows how much work he puts in himself. It's not like he's egotistical and can't and just half-asses everything, right? So anyways, enough stroking Jabali's ego. I'll stop now. What a cocky mofo. No, I'm just kidding. Shout outs to Jabali. But number one I have here, and this is because I've been able to see a lot of this personally, and I've been seeing a lot of growth from this person and doing a lot of great work and traveling a lot and just really kind of giving the FGC a lot of injection of personality. But then on the same side, I've been able to see a lot of his personal accomplishments and such. I'm giving this to Rob TV because he's not really a content creator anymore. He's not really a player anymore. He's just a dude in the FGC. But again, he has been doing such wonderful work. The hosting jobs he's been doing at Gamers A, at Blink Respawn, the hosting duties and interviews that he does at Street Fighter League. He has an ability to connect with the players that I don't think a lot of other people do, because he can connect with them on the professional player level. He can connect with them on the personality level, and he connects with them on the friendship level, etc., etc. He's been really, really stepping it up. And again, he moved himself to California to do all this. I see him every time we do one of these CPT events. The Blue Coast team has been training him to do, things himself. He's been adding to he's on the social media side of things. He's on the replay side of things. He's doing a lot of extra work. He's learning a lot of skills and talents. He's been able to host non-FGC things as well. And on top of that, like I said, I see what he's doing. He just recently got his own apartment. He said this is the first time he's actually just got his own place to live. Like that's just his, no roommates and stuff. And it's just really cool to see the kind of growth and the kind of upward movement this guy has. I'm really ecstatic for him, and I'm really happy to see how he's been able to parlay this fighting game scene, this talent, the energy, the personality into something bigger and stronger. And I feel like he has a lot of upward movement in his future, even if it means leaving the fighting game community and doing stuff that's bigger than that. His here's this music for the first time videos were going super viral because personality, man. It's all in that personality. So, honestly, Rob TV, I've just been so happy to see what he's been able to accomplish, his upward movement, and just the even the personal accomplishments for him, the stuff that you guys don't see, the stuff that he's doing behind the scenes, because that's the thing, is I see him all the time, and while I'll tell you what you see on camera is largely his personality, it's always good to be able to talk to somebody candidly and, seriously and stuff. And the more and more I talk to Rob TV, and when we get into really deep conversations and stuff like that, the more I'm also just impressed by Rob TV as a person, as a human, as a, guy out there who's just trying the best that he can to make a name for himself. And I love to see the success that he's having. Like I said, one of my favorite things about the fighting game community is seeing the success that people have and how the fighting game community has given them that avenue for success. And seeing what Rob TV has done is so wonderful. So there you go. So that is the individual accolades categories here. Again, Commentator of the Year, Content Creator of the Year, FGC Member of the Year. These are the individuals and groups, such as Tampa Never Sleeps, but more individual-based awards here. So in case you guys missed it, I already did one episode with Story of the Year, Newcomer of the Year, Event of the Year. Check YouTube for that. It should be up already. For those of you on Twitch, I'll be jumping to the next categories right after a quick break. But for those of you on YouTube, hope you enjoyed these awards. Match of the Year, Fighting Game of the Year, and Player of the Year are coming up in a video tomorrow if you are just watching this on release. Otherwise, go find those videos as well. Just check the channel, youtube.com/UltraChenTV. And then, of course, there will be one last category at the very end, which will be, unfortunately, Worst of the Year. But then also just random awards, and then also me speaking my heart, having some personal FGC resolutions to talk with you guys. So that's about it for this episode here. That's for part 2 of the Ultra Chen TV Awards. And the day that this podcast graced your ears was the most important day of your life. But for me,
it was Tuesday.